Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Does Jeff hear me today?
I do.
Oh, we're getting multiple weeks in a row now. We're good. We're back on track. That's wonderful. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, July the 20th, 2023. It's another Technical Podcast. Glad you could join us today. Wally is out here immediately saying, Bell Gang represent. Godspeed. Godspeed, Wally. Bless. Got another great show lined up for you today, as always. Although we're still kind of in that the summertime drought of news, but that hasn't stopped us from still managing to irk out 60 to 90 minutes of bullshit. And so we're going to keep you company on your commute to work, and hopefully it's not as hot in your car as it is outside. The heat just keeps on coming. Everywhere. It's not just, it's everywhere. I don't know a single place any of my friends are living, whether it's states or across the pond or here. Everyone's just hot as hell. It's toasty out there. And what's worse, the nighttime, it's not getting colder. It's just basically the same temperature 24 hours a day. It's terrible. But before we get started, of course, the most important question of the week, Mr. Black, how's your week? And do you have an update on your, speaking of temperatures, an update on your heat pump or your central vac?
HVAC. Yeah, so it's going to be, we had a guy come, he needed parts. So he's coming on Saturday to fix it, Saturday afternoon. So Saturday afternoon, it'll be good to go. And we know it will work because he actually got it working. But the thing is toast, like not the unit, but like
the part
of the unit. Yeah, so there's like two parts that we need. I actually don't know how much it's going to be. He hasn't messaged me yet, but I don't think it's going to be that expensive. It might be like $500 or $600 to like, fix the
That's fine.
Fix the thing, right? It's better than like 10,000.
Yes. The math checks out on that one.
Yeah. So I am also very, very sweaty, and I got to open up my door. But outside of that, it's been another week. That's it.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it has been, Jet's been sitting on his knees too long. He's hobbling across the room. Now he's trying to figure out why I'm laughing. Sorry, I was just having a chuckle. I said, you must have been sitting on your knees too goddamn long. It looked like you were...
No, it's leg day. Leg day on Tuesday, and I am fucking so
so this is day 2 after the big leg day, and so you're walking like you gotta stick up your ass.
You gotta stick up my ass.
Yeah, my week was, well, I won't say it was another week. We went to, a friend of ours, Em and I's, her best friend, her wedding was this week. So we did that and was standing in it. She was the maid of honor, and so there was lots to do about that. And one of Em's friends flew in for this wedding and stayed with us for 4 days while she was here for the wedding and seeing friends and whatnot they haven't seen in a long time. And so that was fun. That was good. It was a good old-fashioned wedding in that absolutely nothing went according to plan, but it still somehow all managed to happen anyway by the end of the night. It was no matter how much you plan a wedding, sometimes it just you're doing it by the seat of your pants, and that's exactly what it was like for this one. But it all came together and it was nice. It was good. It was different though in that. Although I can't remember if you did it this way or not. It's been too long, and all I remember from your wedding is trying not to pass out. When you did yours, did everyone get a piece of the wedding cake that you guys cut, or did we have separate dessert? I can't remember.
From what I remember is everybody could have a piece of the wedding cake.
Yeah, like you guys had an actual like big wedding cake. Yeah, so theirs was like a little small one that was like more for the ceremony of cutting the cake, and then they had 2 different types of desserts that everyone could choose from instead. But I was salty. I saw the cake go by. I was like, I want some of that fucking cake. Like I already had dessert, but I want some cake. What are you stealing all this fucking delicious food away from me from? But besides that, it was good. It was good. The rain held off. It was like the one day that we had rain the whole fucking week, and of course it would be on their wedding day because it just, Murphy's Law. But it did hold off long enough for them to get their pictures, which is good. And the only thing they didn't get was their sunset pictures, because there was no sunset to take pictures in front of. We did the wedding was out in Glen Arbor, the golf course. And I didn't know this. I haven't been there in a million years. So first of all, finding the golf course in suburban hell back there was an experience in and of itself. But because everything had grown up since I last been there. I haven't been there in 15 years. So all the trees, everything's just grown up. You can't see half the shit you used to be able to see. But they made it private completely now. So it used to be that you could still pay to go onto the course, and then the people that own property just had they had their season pass, whatever the fuck. But now, apparently 2 years ago, they went completely private. So unless you own property, you can't go golf at Glen Arbor. Or, I guess, know somebody that can get you on the course. Those are two options. Which is unfortunate, because Glen Arbor was a great course. It was a place that you'd only want to go once or twice a season because it was expensive. But it was a nice course. So, fuck them. But beside that, played a bunch of basketball, played some NBA 2K23 all week. I don't know why, I just picked it up. I was like, I need something different. I played League. I needed to desalinate. Needed to get off the League, so I turned on NBA 2K, did franchise mode, and have been every fucking day. And the dream is alive. They need to hire me in New York, Mr. Black, because I revived the New York Knicks. I made them relevant, and they're a dynasty now. 5 straight championships. Out of a fantasy draft. First year, we made it to the first round of the playoffs, and then every other year, championship. Just fucking swimming them. And we're not done yet. I think I've still got maybe 2 more in me before the team starts to fall apart. But I might take a break, because, man, 5 in a row. Starting to get fucking long in the tooth. I only think I've got, so many people interested in watching me play basketball, so I'm gonna have to, fucking pump the brakes on that shit and go play something else for a bit. I saw from your tweet, I only bring this up occasionally, especially if it's positive news, but apparently RP's been kind of okay for the last few days. Positive RP, is that possible?
Yeah, it's happening.
Wow!
Happening. Yeah, it's happening.
I almost didn't want to say it out loud in case it all went fucking tits up.
You just fucking jinxed the whole thing, man. Tomorrow I'm gonna be pissed.
The war's gonna go completely fucking sideways. Everyone's gonna be salty.
It's already sideways, but it'll be like a bad. It'll be like a
the bad kind of sideways.
Yeah, the bad kind of sideways. We'll see.
Instead of tits up, it's tits down.
That's it.
Yeah, but there you go. Anyway, that's been it, which means it's time to move on to talk about a little bit of game news, Mr. Black. This is not, I mean, we've got the CMA and Microsoft thing to talk briefly about, but this is a little bit different. Halo Infinite, we've talked about shit on that game lots in this podcast, because let's be honest, they after a stellar launch, they kind of gave us a lot of reasons. So they haven't stopped, really. They just we just put it down. They were already dead. We didn't want to beat a dead horse, but they're giving me more chances to just talk about Halo Infinite, but not directly. It's kind of tangentially, where we have the Master Chief Collection, which I'm sure many people, if you were big in Halo back when it first came out, and believe it or not, the Master Chief Collection first launched 9 years ago, if you want to get mind fucked, because Master Chief Collection in my head happened 4 years ago, but it was 9. The Master Chief Collection, when it launched, was also a hot mess. Everything was broken as fuck. It was a complete gong show. Networking was fucked. Everyone was so pumped for this, because imagine, how incredible the thought was to be able to play all these old Halo games online again with all the leaderboards and all of the shit and everything was gonna be, which really I think we could have as players probably sat down and looked at that and said, you know what are the odds that a single developer is going to be able to pull this off? We probably could have saw it coming. That being said, they eventually fixed it, and Master Chief Collection has been, I will say, not 100% fixed, but certainly more popular than it's ever been. And with that has come a lot of updates. And just in the last week or so, maybe a week and change, there's been another major update that's been pushed to it, and some interesting content being sent to it as well. So on July 10th, 343 revealed a bunch of details about, this is an upcoming update, sorry, they revealed the updates on the 10th via its official website. Here's a list of some neato stuff. Fuck Infinite. Infinite's not getting anything. If you're playing Infinite right now, you're getting fucked. You're playing Master Chief Collection, you're eating well. That's basically what we're talking about here. And let's be honest, Halo 3, way better than fucking Halo Infinite. Let's just keep it 100. Firefight will now support up to 8 players, and you'll be able to find matches via the in-game browser. Firefight in Master Chief Collection will also support Join in Progress, letting players hop in mid-game or return after a disconnect. So you're already winning there. That's a big dub. 343 is also adding the options to Firefight that will allow you to recreate the 3v3 generator protection mode that was only available in Halo Reach's network beta test. So they're resurrecting some old shit for that. After the July 12th update, Halo 4's campaign and Spartan Ops mode will support theater mode, which means you'll be able to, of course, go back and witness all the madness in theater mode. 343 warns that things might be wonky, as the feature uses legacy code from an older pre-release build of Halo 4. So at least they're letting you know, shit might be a little fucked on that one out of the gate, just from legacy code. Halo 3 is getting a new mode called Slayer Escalation, which is basically gun game, which is, of course, the mode from Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, which each time you get a kill or you kill someone, you get a new gun, or that gun gets stronger and stronger as you continue your kill streak. 343 had already added this game type to other games in the Master Chief Collection, so it's finally coming to Halo 3. That'll be quite popular, I'm sure. 343 is also adding 3 pieces of equipment, invincibility, active camo, and auto turret from Halo 3's campaign into its multiplayer sandbox, which will allow people to fuck around in Halo 3's Forge with those new items. And finally, the Acrophobia skull can now be activated in Halo Combat Evolved, the original Halo. This is the in-game modifier which was already available in other games in the Master Chief Collection that lets players fly around freely in single player, which is perfect for people looking to explore for Easter eggs or wanting to see some shit, which is always kind of cool. Because Halo, as we discovered over the years playing Halo, things that nobody would have actually ever thought off the top that, oh, the developers hid some shit in this place, because the things you had to go through in order to find them, as it turns out, they hid stuff all over the fucking place. Crazy. I'm sure, Mr. Black, you'll remember when we were younger, all the weird and crazy shit that we were trying to do in Halo to try and find skulls or Easter eggs. And then you'd hear whispers from friends about, oh, there's a fucking grunt hiding on top of a fucking installation, and you gotta reverse a Banshee through like 48 fucking doors and get it past friggin' loading checkpoints. And if you get through all that, you can find the giant soccer ball that was hidden up in that stadium area above a level after all that. So they hid all sorts of shit. So allowing this modifier allows you to go back into Halo Combat Evolved and fly around at will if you're not somebody that wants to go through all the pain and suffering of trying to do it the old-fashioned way, like putting 47,000 grenades underneath of a warthog up against a rock and yeeting it over a mountain, which everyone should do at least once in their life, by the way, because it's satisfying as fuck. Spent entire days doing that shit. Back when we were but young ones. But yeah, that's a lot of kind of cool updates for the Master Chief Collection there, and a lot of attention going into Halo 3 specifically, which I imagine is probably one of the more, if not the most popular of all of the content in Master Chief Collection. But one more really neato thing is that they're taking a bunch, they worked with modders. 343 went out and found a bunch of modders that were already kind of working on similar projects. In the last year, they worked alongside them to unearth a whole bunch of unreleased, like Bungie-era Halo shit, and include it in the games for people to go and check out. We're talking things like unreleased enemies, entire maps, vehicles, things of that nature, all sorts of stuff that was never actually end up being used in the Bungie-era games. They are now releasing that in various ways to allow people to experience and interact with all that stuff, which is always cool to see. I will say that as much as I like to shit on 343, and I do enjoy it, it is a pastime of mine, I will at least give them props for doing a pretty good job of keeping up Legacy Halo. You know, the Master Chief Collection is... How many developers have something like the Master Chief Collection? Being able to toggle between new graphics, old graphics, update and keep up all of the online competitive play, multiplayer modes, fucking Halo 3 Forge, all of this stuff. Not very many developers do. I mean, look at what happened. Even Rockstar didn't get their shit right with Grand Theft Auto. Their re-release recently was fucking terrible, to the point where they had to take it off the fucking shelves basically and start the whole thing over again because it was so bad. So I will give them props for that. I just wish that also, as good as this Master Chief Collection was, maybe get Infinite to be relevant before Master Chief Collection overtakes Infinite entirely. Maybe that's what they're hoping. Is that the play, Mr. Black? Just have everyone go back to Halo 3, forget that Infinite exists, so that they don't have to dedicate another decade of their lives to Halo Infinite for Microsoft, and just forget that it ever happened. Maybe that is the play. either way, if you do enjoy Master Chief Collection stuff or the old Halo stuff, you've got more reason to go check it out in the coming weeks.
I will say,
yes.
I couldn't give zero fucks about any of this.
I know you don't really give a fuck about any of that.
Like no fucks. And I'm actually to the point where I'm like slightly upset that we're even talking about Halo because they don't even deserve to even have positive news spread about them. I'm that serious. I don't think dude,
even for the Master Chief Collection. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, they've done.
They fucked it up. They fucked it up. They fucked it up. They fucked it up big time. So you don't get it. You don't get in my good graces by 2.5 years later, making some updates and now we're gonna outsource some modders that like care about the games and we're gonna release unreleased assets and it's just gonna be fantastic. Dude, this right here is nothing but damage control. That's what this is. This is and by the way, Halo Infinite, there's 2,900 people playing Halo Infinite right now.
On Steam?
On Steam. 2,900. Halo Master Chief Collection, 4,000.
I would imagine most of this exists on the Xbox and the Game Pass stuff at this point. I can't imagine the majority are on Steam. I mean, the numbers aren't going to be fucking huge, but I highly doubt that there's only 3,000 people playing Infinite. I know it's low. It will definitely be low. But it's not going to be north of like 20,000 people. I
think that's being generous. I mean, I honestly don't like. Yeah, I don't follow game news like you do, and I don't really. I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong
that talks about Halo Infinite. And yeah. I think what they're doing, and maybe this is just me being pessimistic. But
I was trying to be positive for 3 seconds, but I don't agree. I don't disagree.
They just don't deserve the positivity. They just don't. I'm not falling for it. It's just what I think is I think that they realize that Halo Infinite is just a dead game, and it's a dead shit game. And then they also fucked on the Halo Collection, which I bought. I didn't play Halo Infinite. I bought the Halo Collection because I wanted to enjoy old Halo. As did many people, yeah. I wanted to enjoy old Halo. What did they do? They shit all over it. And yeah, it had some redeeming qualities, but it was not the same experience that we were promised.
And they released that close. A second time because the original was like for the older consoles, and they did it again for PC and the Xbox One or whatever. And yeah,
and it just feels like they know Halo Infinite is fucked completely. And I think that their play right now is to say, you know what? Let's pour some time and PR into the collector stuff, because let's be real, Halo Infinite sucks and people aren't feeling it, but they still, have love for the old Halo and the brand itself. So why not just go ahead and razzle dazzle up the Halo, the part of Halo that people love, and say like, listen, man, we're listening. We're tuned in. We're doing things we never did before. It's on. But that's like a dude cheating on his girlfriend, right? Or his wife, and then going home and she's like, I'm leaving you. What the fuck? You're a piece of shit. It's from death do us part. And then the dude is like, well, you know what? I'm a change man. I'm gonna go to therapy. I'm you know what? I'm gonna give you the passwords to my phone and my email login, my Facebook. I mean, I surrender. I'm just gonna, I'll do whatever it takes. In hopes that she's dumb enough to say, you know what? Yeah, I'll give you another chance. Yeah, I'll give you another chance. And you pull on the heartstrings. You pull on certain things. It's, in my opinion, it's just manipulation. Maybe that's just me being negative Nancy, but it doesn't feel earned. And if you cared that much, why the fuck didn't you do this on the last release of the Halo Collection or the first release of the Halo Collection? It was a money grab. That's what it was. And you can make the argument that all games are a money grab. Sure, they need to be profitable, but it was a nostalgic play on a dying franchise, and they promised us old Halo, and it was semi-old Halo with some new bullshit, and the whole fucking online thing was absolute garbage ass, and it was just terrible, and a bunch of hackers and all this other fucking shit you got to deal with. Nobody wants to deal with it. And then Halo Infinite is just dead. It's just dead on arrival. Thing sucks. I mean, that's just, we don't even need to go into that. We've gone into that on several podcasts. That thing is a train wreck. So let's just pretend the train wreck doesn't exist, and let's go ahead and make the hardcore Halo fans happy. And then you know what they're going to do? They're going to announce in a few years that they're going to, from the success and the great feedback that they got from the Halo collection, now finally they're gonna do the thing that we all been wanting. And since they've gotten back in good graces with some of the diehard core fans, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the real time. Maybe it's just bullshit, bro. That's what I think.
I think you're like, that's why I said what I said. I think you're not wrong for sure. I think that it is a good part of this is, on one hand, I do believe that there is some part of them that do want to just, they're just maintaining Halo's thing with the Master Chief Collection. I want to say it's all.
Before? Why didn't they do it before?
I don't know if it was like if it was a time thing. I mean, they released a game that didn't have all this, and it was still broken and incomplete. So, like, if they added all this shit on top of it, I doubt it would have been any better. But at the same time, to your point about that's why I mentioned, like, maybe this is just one way of them going, okay, well, maybe if we just dump all of our efforts into here, people will stop worrying about Infinite so much, because this is an easier thing to get.
And it's positive PR. How do you get positive PR with Infinite? What are you going to add to Infinite that people are like, oh man, it's like No Man's Sky.
Well, it
just took a 180.
Every single window of every update, and then of course we already we saw that they're like letting people fucking go, and these windows are getting more and more lax. So Infinite's kind of just dead in the water. So I think this is partially to continue to build upon the idea of the Master Chief Collection and what it can bring, and then partially it's good PR. It's easy for them to be able to put not a huge number of people on this project and say, okay, what can we get done over here that allows us to go out and say, look what's coming, we got some more for you. Because I'm sure they're looking at the numbers too, and it's not going to be secretive for them to see that Infinite is getting played less than the Master Chief Collection. And that's got to ring a couple of fucking bells up there somewhere, that they got to maybe be considering how they're tackling this whole thing. But, it is, and like you said, it's kind of like, on one hand, I'm happy. Like, I don't want to chastise them too much for working with modders to help bring this stuff over. Because on one hand,
feel genuine.
Like, on one hand, it's not genuine, but on the other hand, a lot of people have asked, like, Bethesda, like, why aren't you working with modders to fix your games? Because they fix the same problems for 20 years.
Because every time you release a game, incompetent, bro. They don't want.
Well, they look incompetent anyway, like every time.
I know, but I mean, bro, do you know how fucking bad it is? It's like, you know what, dude, I can't fuck my wife. So do you mind if you go in and fuck my wife?
Some people are into this. Some people are into
exactly. That's why some people are happy about this. But I just look at it like you're a cuck, and like, no. It's like, dude, I can't hit those spots. You've got 3 extra inches. Can you go ahead and fuck her for me? Of course, if she wants it. And of course she wants it, because she ain't getting it at home. That's what this is. And, if they would have came out with Halo Infinite and said, listen, man, we got the best modders. We've been looking around. We've been seeing what you guys have been doing with Halo. We hired on, these 2
If they said they hired them, that seems different, right? Because now it's like you're hiring them, you're giving them jobs to be devs at the company. Because lots of modders are game programmers. That's just what they are. They're just so, like, if you hire them, that rings way different than saying we went and talked to some modders and worked with them external to the company for a year and brought all this stuff in. But if they hire them, now they're just employees at 343. That seems like more of a win-win. But maybe, I guess the question is, do they want to work at 343?
I wouldn't.
Maybe they don't want to work. Maybe they're comfortable to just give them this work and just have their name on it somewhere and be like, I'm good. I don't want to work in whatever's going on there.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a dick about everything. I don't know.
I think you're a little bit, but it's not far off. I think it's fair. I think it's fair. It's not unfair. I just think that there is definitely still some portion of this. I have to imagine.
Look what No Man's Sky did, right? Because we shit on them.
That's the gold standard.
This guy went out and he just made good on a fucking horrible shitstorm.
He shut his mouth. They ghosted socials for months.
That's it. And they're
still doing it now.
They're still doing it, right? They're still doing it. So that's the gold standard on how you go and you basically fucking your ass naked in front of the world and you've got a micro penis and everybody is looking and staring and laughing at you. And then you go, okay, well, you know what? Let me just get rid of this micro penis somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to fucking do it. I don't know. And the next thing you know it, they came out and then it went from micro penis to 2 inches. Then it went from 2 to 3. Then it went from 3 to 4. Then it went from 4 to 5. Now you're average. Then you're going from 5 to 6. Then you're going from 6 to 7. Now it's a solid 8 with girth, right? Master...
with
Halo
girth, they didn't just go in one direction. They're getting wide.
It's getting wide, right? You're hitting walls now. You're stretching shit out. And the thing is the Halo Master Chief Collection, you know, yeah, they might not have started it as a micro penis, but it was like 3.5 inches. And
below average.
It was below average. Then they re-released it and it went to 4 inches.
It's still below average.
And it's still very much below average. And so, you know, now what? Now they're gonna throw a Hail Mary and they're gonna be like, hey, look. Yeah, now look, it's like I think everybody's going, you know what? No, I don't want to see it anymore. I don't, at least me. But I'm
put it away.
I'm already checked. I'm just checked out of Halo. Anything Halo, anything Star Wars, anything these like franchises that like was my love for as a kid.
And then
it's just been fucking gone. There's very few. So anyway, I digress. Good luck, Halo. Listen, if there's going to be lots of players out there, even if it is only 10, 20,000 people, this is good news for them. So at the end of the day, I'm happy for those players.
20,000 people is still a fair amount of people to be playing like Halo 3. Like, I mean, if you're still out there playing Halo 3, you're 20,000 people, you know.
Yeah, but think about it, Adam. How big of a franchise has Halo been?
I'm not saying it in the grand scheme of like Halo.
But think about this, right?
Oh yeah, Halo's huge.
I want you to just think about how big the franchise is.
Oh, it's massive.
And how big of a fall from grace this franchise has had, right?
Off a cliff.
So this is like Star Wars, right? Coming out in theaters. And before they used to be, you know, say it's like a $1 billion movie, just boom, boom. And they still are, right? Because it's a large fan base. But for this analogy, say Star Wars movie comes out next month and it goes to the box office and it makes $300 million. Right? That's bad. That's the equivalent of 20,000 people playing Halo. This is, I don't think, maybe I'm just old and people don't actually understand how big Halo was. It's like, it was like Call of Duty big. Like
it was bigger than Call of Duty.
It was
for a time.
It was a massive franchise, massive, gigantic, to the point where they spawned off like Destiny from the creators of Halo, right? Just to get the hype going so they can move in a different direction. I don't think people realize 20,000 concurrent players on a brand that big is a joke. It's a joke. It's like showing up with your 3-inch dick and saying, how do you like it? Even if it's girthy, it might do the job for some, but some like deep penetration or even, you know, that's...
What?
I don't know.
Some people like getting punched in the cervix over and over again.
I mean, yeah, seriously. You know, that's, I don't know, maybe, yeah. I got penetration on my mind, man. I got penetration.
Don't we all? Well, I don't disagree. It is true. Halo, massive franchise, clearly fallen from grace, off a cliff, bottom of the barrel, and it was already that before Infinite. Really. Not, yes, well, I shouldn't say like bottom of the barrel, but it hadn't been able to find a way to compete with modern shooters, right? Yeah. Like they lost the ability to compete with modern shooters. 5 still sold tens of millions of copies. But the drop off kept getting faster and faster every release. Like how many people were still playing it? It's just dropping faster and faster.
Oh, bad.
And now Infinite, it's just like, and I'm still angry. I know we talked about this like a million times. I'm still angry at how much momentum Infinite had and how they had everyone. Because it is the best playing Halo since 3, easily.
Yes.
All the bones were there. And they put 0 meat on them bones. And they're still not putting meat on them bones.
No, they're going to Halo Collection to put the meat on the bones. What does that tell you? So, I mean, yeah.
Good luck out there. There's a lot of people, I'm sure, inside 343 fighting for their life for Halo to become popular again, but I mean, I'm sure most of the people that are managing are just looking down going, the money ain't here anymore.
It's done, bro. Even the TV show is a fucking shithole. Like, I mean, the whole thing, it's done. It's over.
Oh, the TV show's a different can of worms.
Have some dignity left, Halo. Just let it go. 343 just...
Speaking of penetration, Halo's TV show... Getting that Master Chief fuck on.
Master Cheeks.
God, they really fucked that up. It's just embarrassing to watch. Speaking of fucking it up, the FTC, as we already talked about last week, they lost their case. That's thrown out. And just not long after that, Microsoft signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for at least 10 years post the buyout, much like it signed with many other companies during the period where they were trying to tell everyone that Call of Duty was not going to go anywhere for a long time, even if this buyout happens. Not that this buyout is necessarily about Call of Duty, but that's what everyone wanted to make it in the early days, and so that's what they were doing. This also tells you that Jim Ryan is throwing in the towel. He knows that the deal's going through now. And so instead of continuing to fight it and looking like an idiot, he's just conceding and signing the deal and moving on. Because again, he knew it wasn't about Call of Duty, but he made it about Call of Duty, and he convinced the CMA that it was about Call of Duty. And the CMA ran with it until literally, as you'll remember, the 11th hour, when they at the last minute turned around and went, you know what? It's actually about the cloud market, and then said no, and confused the fuck out of absolutely everyone. But this is definitely Jim saying, all right, fine, yeah, okay, take it, it's yours. Which means there's the only point of friction is the CMA. Everyone else, 40 other countries plus.
It's gonna go through.
It's going to go through now. They extended the deal into October. The finish line is now in October, which gives them enough time to talk to the CMA to figure out whatever needs to be figured out there to finalize that deal. And then that will be pushed through. So you can look forward to that coming up in the not too distant future. Other interesting stuff lining up with these announcements, like the idea that this is all going through and whatnot. Some of it's just coincidental. Some of it is unlikely. Larry Major Nelson Herb, who is one of the faces of Xbox for a long time, starting back in the 360 days, really. You saw him everywhere back in the day, being a front man, one of the front men, like Greenberg and Major Nelson and Phil Spencer, who is now, of course, the head of the division. He's stepping down after 20 years with the company to go and do some other stuff in his career. I mean, Major's getting up there in age anyway, so I suspect he wants to just maybe do some other shit for now. And I suspect also his role, given what his role was at the company for 20 years, might be reduced to the point where he just doesn't feel like he's doing anything anymore. And so I would imagine that's probably like a large part of it. Because it's not like he was doing anything to the point where it's one of those things where they're pushing him out of the company. Like he wasn't doing anything, like it's not like he fucked up or anything like that. I think this is one of the few times where when he comes out and says, I just want to try some new shit, probably means he just wants to try some new shit. And so there you go. He's moving on. We also got the announcement that Xbox Live Gold is finally ending and being fully folded into the Game Pass. So Game Pass is just it. And speaking of the Game Pass Family Preview subs are ending, or they're trying to figure out how they're not going to offer it anymore. And then I don't know how they're going to transition the current subscriptions into other subscriptions in the future. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, as they're preparing to do the global launch of Game Pass. They're getting the service ready. So the family preview and stuff was, if you didn't know, it was essentially they allowed like a one Game Pass thing, and you could have like so many users in a household or in a family to all use the same account. And so they're just that was a preview thing to get people playing and interacting with Game Pass, and so they're closing that up and getting ready to launch the service worldwide in the not too distant future. So all those things happened around this time. So Xbox is making all sorts of moves simultaneously, getting themselves ready to go after this buyout. I do find it interesting, Mr. Black. I want your thoughts on this just randomly off the cuff. You'll notice that over time, they have been removing the Xbox name from more and more shit that isn't the console. So it used to be Xbox Live, and it used to be Xbox Game Pass, and now it's just Game Pass. They're taking the Xbox out of the title everywhere that isn't the console, and there's lots of speculation around why that might be. But do you have any thoughts about why they might be removing Xbox from these official titles as they get ready to push all this out globally?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can really think of is they're targeting a lot of PC players now too, and a lot of stuff is on PC. They're about to buy out a large
publisher
section. A large publisher that has a ton of prominently PC titles. And you know, if you're gonna buy Blizzard Activision, you don't want to have like, you know, play World of Warcraft on Xbox Game Pass, right? Or whatever the case may be. I just think it's more of a branding thing, and just to be more of a universally, not put yourself in a box. Pardon the pun, but it just, I think what it is they're thinking beyond just the console. Because Xbox now is like a massive conglomerate, or sorry, like I guess Microsoft. It's got a lot more than just it's a lot more than just a console. And their services that they do can be used outside of an Xbox. And I don't think they want people to think that you need to own an Xbox in order to play a lot of their games or even have their services. At this point, you actually just don't need one. So I just think it's just easier for the consumer to just know what Game Pass is. I mean, does it really matter if there's Xbox in the front? It's Game Pass. And if I'm talking to you as a friend and I'm just like, hey, yo, Adam, what's your favorite game on Game Pass? I'm not going to go, hey, yo, Adam, what's your favorite game on Xbox Game Pass? It doesn't do anything. So that would be my guess. Maybe there's a bigger play on this. I haven't read up on any of that stuff, but it just seems like this is where we're going.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's no like official writing or anything. I was just interested in what you thought about it. I have a similar thought where it's just, you know, it's bigger than Xbox, like you said, because they're trying to put it on everything you can, whether it's your phone or your fucking, you know, your PC or what have you. TVs now, they partnered with TV manufacturers to have that shit built in kind of thing. And for those TVs that don't, I'm sure they're going to come back. They used to have like that idea of like a stick, like a Roku stick. I'm sure they're going to probably come back with something like that for TVs that don't natively support Game Pass, to be able to just say, hey, $99, $129, boom, plug that in the back, get a controller, and you're off to the fucking races type shit with your Game Pass. You know, things like that. I think having the wide open name, like you said, is also way better than constricting it to the Xbox, because it doesn't really convey what the service is. If you just say Game Pass, the idea is that they want it to be everywhere. So it's just games on this bitch, and wherever you can play games, we want you to be able to have access to Game Pass. And so Game Pass just becomes a thing. I think to a degree, it might also help them in markets where the Xbox has no brand power at all. So Japan could not care less about the Xbox if they tried.
They hear the word Xbox and they're out, right?
They're out.
You say Game Pass, and they're like, oh, well, what's this?
Games?
You know. I wouldn't be surprised if everything is just like Microsoft instead of.
I don't even think they're going to put Microsoft. I think they're just going to say Game Pass.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
And maybe the Xbox logo next to it, maybe, or something.
Correct. Or like a Microsoft, you know, something.
Real
right?
minor.
In very small print.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be that. But I think that allows them to expand in Japan and whatnot, because they've been fighting for their fucking life there. They had a brief window on the 360 where they actually did well and they were growing, and then the Xbox One just squashed all that. Like, that shit just disappeared immediately. And there, I don't think there was any coming back from it after that. The Xbox One kind of fucked them. But if they do that, you know, where they just stick with Game Pass, I think that helps in that regard. So yeah, interesting. We'll see. I'll be interested in just how far that branding strategy goes, how far-reaching it is, and how much that will touch and change as time goes on. Because clearly Microsoft is very interested in focusing on this whole cloud gaming thing in the future, which is not necessarily 100% here right now, but we're probably a good 10 to 15 from it being kind of like a more of a standard. As internet becomes more and more readily available that can support this, and the technology allows the transfer of this stuff at lower data rates, and it will be more and more like it. And so it won't just be a matter of, oh, you have Game Pass, download this game to play it. It'll also be the idea of, do you want to just stream this fucking game that's on the Game Pass? So interesting times lie ahead in that regard. But more interesting, perhaps, for you, Mr. Black, and many others, is this next tidbit, which I'm sure you've already glanced over at in the notes here a while back. But in very intriguing news related to the whole merger, or acquisition, I should say, journalist Jez Corden, when asked about whether or not he believes StarCraft 3 would be set to go by Microsoft upon buyout, meaning does Microsoft want to bring StarCraft and or Warcraft RTSs back into the limelight upon buying the company, he, where was I in here? He said he didn't need to wonder about it, was his response, which immediately people went, wait a minute, that sounds like you know more information than you're letting on. And so they followed that up and they asked, well, does that mean that StarCraft, does he know that it is StarCraft 3? And if he knew anything else about it, and he just replied with, yep. Now, if this wasn't Jez Corden, who is a relatively well-known journalist, if this was just some like me, some YouTube fucking journalist with like 1,000 people, do I believe him? No. It's Jez Corden. He's relatively sizable. He would have a few people that he could contact and talk with. So it lends some credibility to his statements, as vague as they may seem. So I have in my notes, I'm not sold 100% on the idea. However, like I said already, Corden isn't just a random journalist, so I wouldn't exactly ignore it either entirely. And then I have here, and I'll see what Jeff's thoughts are on this as well, just in general. But, for me, I talked about this on stream not long ago. I said, for me, I think in the grand scheme of things of Microsoft, in this exact thing where somebody asked me about Microsoft buying out Activision, Blizzard, what about StarCraft, what about Warcraft? I said, I think because of MOBAs and all of the most popular games right now and what people have adjusted to, a Warcraft style makes more sense with hero units. People attach to it. There's more monetization options that the company can attach themselves to in regards to having hero units, where you can't really do that as easily otherwise. StarCraft 2 tried that in the 11th hour, and it didn't work that well for them. It just kind of went over okay. And so I think from gameplay and monetization perspective, a Warcraft 4 makes more sense. That being said, StarCraft 3 would obviously still draw a lot of attention, no doubt about it. But the bigger asterisk for me is, if they start now, that game's 5 or 6 years away. That's the dev cycle of any major game now, 5, 6, 7 years. So if it was started now, or let's say in the last year or so, like concept phase and stuff like that, you're banking on, StarCraft 2 came out in 2010. The Renaissance kind of like ended for them, or the Renaissance of RTS kind of ended 2015, probably, to really like close it out 2014, 2015, the League of Legends takeover years. And so by the time this comes back out, let's say it's closer to 2030. If they're starting it now, they're banking on RTS having been come back around again. The cyclical nature of all things in the gaming industry. And so the question for me becomes, is that enough time? Will that be are they going to hit it? They hit it with StarCraft 2. They hit that window, which was 13 years between Brood War and 2?
Yeah, about that. And
this will be longer. This will be 20 years, roughly. And so my question to you, Mr. Black, is, what are your thoughts on StarCraft 3? Because we've always talked about how it never happened, but Microsoft buying it out does seem to change things a little bit. They will be interested in leveraging the biggest titles that this company has. They're spending $70 billion on the company. And then the follow-up to that is, do you think that StarCraft is the right one for them to chase after? And do you think the timeline makes sense, or do you think that it shouldn't happen at all?
Wow.
It's a lot to take in for StarCraft 3. We really thought this wouldn't happen, but Microsoft buying it does kind of fucking move move some pieces.
Yeah. I think, I mean, if you asked me even 2 weeks ago, if I thought there'd be a StarCraft 3, I would have just said no. And I wouldn't even have, and people have asked me that many, many times over the years.
Oh, we've said that on the podcast several times here. Just no, it's not, no.
I mean, basically every time I play StarCraft, even now, people are ask like, you know, do I think there'll be a StarCraft 3? Do I think Activision Blizzard would make a StarCraft 3? No. I don't. Do I think Microsoft will?
So you mean like take the IP and hand it to somebody else?
No, I mean, like, sorry. Before the acquisition.
Right.
So say like right now. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Say this deal doesn't go through. Right?
Yeah.
Which it will, but say the deal doesn't go through. Would I think that there will be a StarCraft 3? No. I don't. And the reason is because it doesn't make enough money. Fan base isn't big enough. They've got their golden gooses. StarCraft used to be that, but the whole genre, the RTS genre as a whole, like if StarCraft 2 was a battle royale or a first-person shooter, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see something happen, or an MMO, or something, a card game, something that they can milk the fuck out of, and they have like a core fan base. But with Microsoft buying it, I got to go with my gut and just say no. No. And the reason is Blizzard, when they buy out Blizzard is still going to be working on the things that they're working on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This isn't, like, people got to understand that this isn't, like, obviously Microsoft can hire more devs and they can, you know, they can open up more departments. They could even move StarCraft into another department if they wanted to, or whatever. Well, I don't know, but I think when you spend how much billion? $70 billion? How many billions?
60, 69, 70 billion?
Say 70 billion. It's gonna be more than that with fees and all this other fucking shit they got going on. But what it was, say you're spending $70 billion. There's no, in my humble opinion, there is just no way that they are thinking StarCraft 3 is gonna start moving the needle. That's the thing. I think they're gonna double and triple and quadruple down on the things that print money. Like King, mobile games, like Diablo, which is surprisingly doing well, World of Warcraft, the classic shit, and all this other stuff they got going on. I could see them even making another Hearthstone way before I can see them making a StarCraft 3 or even a Warcraft 4. The proof is in the pudding. They're gonna look at the player base of StarCraft, which I don't know what it is right now. I'd have to look it up. And all the other titles, and they're going to say, okay, well, what's the best way that we can make money, return on our investment? And I just don't think that they're going to put a team of people there. Now, does Blizzard? There's a chance that Activision Blizzard right now have some sort of department that may be working on a version of StarCraft 3, but not, maybe either not with the sole purpose of releasing it, but to see the bare bones on sort of like test the water out. They could even come out with some kind of mini game that spawns off of StarCraft, like in the custom thing, kind of like TFT. Was it TFT in League of Legends?
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah,
the auto battle or the chess auto battle.
Correct. Yeah. Shit, they might even. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're just working on a campaign, and they just want to release a campaign with no multiplayer. It's very possible. But you got to understand, if StarCraft 3 comes out, they're going to need an entire team on that game all the time. And is Microsoft in the business of esports? Do they want to be in the business of esports? I don't know. At least like a Blizzard esport, you know, like it's different. It's a different beast. Obviously, the diehard StarCraft fan of me would love to see a StarCraft 3. I mean, holy shit. I mean, I would be elated to know that there's a StarCraft 3. But I think what this guy is saying, number one, I think, you know, he's a journalist. So he's in it for clicks, and he's in it for us talking about it and all the other podcasts talking about it. Not only that, is what's his relationship with Xbox? Does he go to these events? Is he getting the red carpet treatment? Is he trying to put this in the best light possible? Because remember, there is a studio by the name of Frost Giant about to release an RTS this year. And what better way to not have Microsoft, or in this case, Blizzard Activision, come out and say, hey, we're developing a StarCraft 3, knowing damn well they ain't going to release one. But have this fucking guy not actually answer the question, but kind of be a vague, yup. Well, what does that mean? Are you leaking? Like, what is it? Usually when somebody has the tea, especially like in the movie business, and TMZ and all these other journalists, they want the headline. They say, hey, I have an unknown source, or I know X, Y, and Z is happening. This is what I'm hearing. He didn't say any of that shit. Why wouldn't you just say, yes, I know somebody that knows somebody that is working on StarCraft 3? Why wouldn't you say that? You can't be sued. You can't get in trouble. It's just journalism. You know, it's not like it's a big secret unless he had signed some sort of NDA himself. But if he's a journalist, you know, he's just going to do what he's going to do. It really feels like a bit of a dupe, but maybe it's a half truth. Maybe it's like, you know what? They're fucking around a little bit with the StarCraft IP, and he didn't even say, like, it could be StarCraft Ghosts. It could be a StarCraft MOBA game or a mobile game. It could be a number of random things that they could use the IP for. Who knows, right? It could be a remake of StarCraft 2 for all I fucking know. It could. I don't know. I really truly
Hopefully
don't know.
not. That would be a waste of everyone's time.
It'd be horrible. But I don't buy it. I want to buy it, but I don't buy it. And then on top of that, if StarCraft 3 does come out, who's making this fucking game?
Yeah, because a lot of the institutional knowledge is gone to Frost Giant, and so
what kind
that's
of StarCraft are we getting? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that the game can't be excellent and there ain't other, you know, great devs out there that can create an even better experience, but it's highly unlikely. And you know, do we want to have an RTS battle? Do we want to have Frost Giant come up with theirs and then have another? Maybe that'll be good for the genre.
Well, I think their game will be out so much before anything that would happen that it wouldn't matter at that point. It'd be like 6 years in between the two.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know who this Jazz Corden guy is.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't he just say? Why wouldn't he just say it?
Oh, I have no idea. All I know is that like of all of the journalists that are currently out there that do that, you know, this kind of work, he's not somebody that I would just like throw everything out, baby out with the bathwater. Like you said, it could be a half truth. That's why I'm saying, like, do I believe it? Not wholeheartedly, but I wouldn't also just completely ignore it either. Meaning, I think there's something there, but we don't know exactly what that something is. And I do, and I'll say that I agree with you. Like StarCraft 3.
Nobody's asking
maybe
for
to
it
me,
either,
nobody's
right?
asking for StarCraft. But if you're making StarCraft 3, nobody asked for StarCraft 2 either. Really, like Brood War was like peaking still in terms of the esport and like the popularity of the game. Like, nobody in North America was like, fuck me, we desperately need StarCraft 2. But when they announced it, then they were like, fuck yeah, I want StarCraft 2. So I think if they do a StarCraft 3, it will be a similar situation where they have to try and, like, where's your entry point in the market in terms of a timeline of when is RTS maybe viable to put this much money into an RTS? Is that 6 years or 7 years from now? Is it 2030? Maybe. That would be the 20th anniversary of StarCraft 2. Maybe that is a reasonable time to enter. And games move so fucking fast now that like 7 years is like, fuck, what's popular 7 years from now? What the fuck? Very, very infrequently do games get monolithic enough to survive a 7-year popularity span. I mean, look at even the rise and fall of Battle Royale. It's not what it used to be. It's not like people aren't always asking for BRs anymore. Like, and that was like as soon as that came out, with PUBG was like, PUBG wasn't the first, but it was the one that like catapulted everything else after it. It was massive. It had this huge run, and that was in like 2017. It wasn't that long ago. We barely hit that we're not even at the 7-year window yet. And the whole genre has bloomed and peaked and valleyed multiple times. And so 7 years from now, is RTS possibly going to be viable again?
It's possible.
Sure.
I mean, it's possible. I mean,
sure.
I mean, like you've got. I'm just sorry. I'm like, because I'm looking up some stuff on this.
Yeah, you're probably trying to find numbers and shit.
Yeah. I did hear about this leak there like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
But what's his name here? Mike Ybarra? Is that the guy that runs
Mike Ybarra? Mike Ybarra, I think, is currently the interim Blizzard head because they changed that like 3 times.
Okay. So so like Simu, remember back like what is it, last year? Like a year ago. The dude that plays Shang-Chi?
Yes,
He twatted out. Please say StarCraft. So like here, I'll post this here. Like he twatted out, please save StarCraft. This was a year ago. So this was like 2 days off my birthday a year ago. And then if you scroll down, you'll see Mike, and he just has a smiley face. Right? And he replies with a smiley face.
Just vague enough to like...
Right? And then there was another tweet that he did where he twatted out in April 14th, 2022. So just a few months after that tweet, he twatted out this. It looks like he might have removed it. No, it's still there. He twatted out this. And it's a shirt. It's like he just twatted out a shirt. And it just says, "My life for ire."
Right, yeah.
Right? So, and then everybody's like, oh my God, StarCraft 3? Oh, is this what this means? And then you've got this dude saying, yup, for StarCraft. I think best case scenario, the absolute best case scenario that we have here is they're actually working on another StarCraft with the possibility of it never coming out or it spawning off into something else. But maybe, just maybe, they're creating something that nobody knows about and testing the waters and seeing what's up. And they very well may just see how well Frost Giant's game comes out, because Frost Giant made this announcement years ago. So maybe they're just, it's not in their, you ain't got a massive team just fucking going at it every day, doing their thing, trying to get some news for next year's E3 that'll never happen. Or maybe BlizzCon. I mean, BlizzCon is what? Soon, right?
I guess. I don't even keep track of it anymore because it's just such a useless fucking event.
Yeah, I mean, BlizzCon I think is soon. Maybe we hear something where they're like, "Hey, guys," and you just see a StarCraft 3 logo. I mean, my world would just be, my dick would be hard, and I would lose my mind, and I would be amped to fuck. But like you said, man, if we get one, we are years out, and because of that, they might just look at Frost Giants and see how well it does. If Frost Giants thing is taken off, and like there's a large viewer base, and they can figure out how to monetize it outside of just paying $59.99 or $79.99 for the game, they'll do it. I think they will. But it's a big but. It's a huge but. But we'll see.
Man, yeah, I still think.
I just don't think we're gonna get it.
I still think it's like, yeah, it's hard to imagine you're gambling on the genre coming back around, because it's not like gambling on FPS. FPS not going anywhere. That is a gaming market stable that just or staple that does not move. It is stable. It just does not go anywhere. So it's not like it's that. It's RTS comes and goes in waves. And it's only really had 2 waves. One of them was in the 90s, and it was more than just Blizzard. It was a bunch of other RTSs. The second was just Blizzard.
Yeah.
Carried it the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't like when you got StarCraft 2 come out, 5 other premium RTSs launched in a similar window and did well. That didn't happen.
No.
So, it would be a gamble for sure, and it will be very intriguing to see how it unfolds. Just like it'll be fun to see, because it is a window of timing thing. It will be fun to see how Stormgate does for that very same reason. Is it going to be able to hit a window in which this gains any traction? Now, their thing is they're not spending nearly as much money as they would if this was a StarCraft 3. The money spent there is the risk is high, but be very interesting. And I'll be more interested in when that game comes out. If that is no way in fuck that game comes out this year.
Well, there'll be a beta. There'll be something playable this year.
They'll be playable, yeah, but not.
Yeah,
but the game is not coming
released
out this year. No,
fuck no. Sorry,
No.
If I misspoke, I don't think for a second we're going to get an official release of Stormgate. I don't even think we're going to get it next year.
Yeah.
I really believe that it will be in a beta state for the
2025.
entire of 2024. And then maybe at the end of 2024, but I still think 2025 is when you'll be able to go to the store and just buy a copy. I think that they'll have a beta out this year, playable, and you'll be able to buy shit to help them continue to dump money into the thing, and be like sort of early, kind of like an alpha shit. It might even be an alpha. It might not even be beta this year. It might just be like an alpha, and then beta, and then the game itself. But I actually think there'll be a lot of diehard RTS fans that will be able to experience a version of Stormgate of some capacity. Might not be all 3 races. Might be only 2 races made. Might even be just a mirror matchup. I think we're going to be able to get our hands on this game this year. I do.
Oh, I think it'll be a mirror matchup of some kind or something like that.
Yeah.
Or just like a scenario that you can play over and over again against AI or something similar like that. I think that's totally what's gonna happen. At least that's after what they showed off from Summer Game Fest. That's what it looks like they're.
But what's crazy
going towards.
is I went back and I watched the StarCraft stuff, StarCraft 2, when it was in like alpha form.
Oh, it's brutal.
And oh my god, it looked worse.
Well, it was all they showed stuff with way more placeholders than Stormgate did. Like StarCraft 2 was just placeholder central.
Yeah, the StarCraft 2 thing did not look good. It did not look good, and it did not look anything like it is today. Like not even close. So that actually gives me even more confidence that like, hey, Stormgate is probably gonna go through some serious changes.
It'll be okay. Yeah, it's the growing pains. It's just so much more risky to show your game off these days than it was back then.
Oh, for sure.
Expectations, just like social media, everything just fucking blew that up. Really, I'll skip ahead one and double back to finish up with the other piece. But in relation to Blizzard, Overwatch League is looking to change its format to survive the continued issues that it's plagued it since 2020. And what the league will look like is uncertain, as Activision Blizzard has just again laid off 50 more esports specific employees at the company. They're hoping to go back to, from what we know, they're hoping to go back to their most fan-popular format that they had with Apex, which I believe was the Korean branch tournament for Overwatch League at the time. I would imagine whatever they're going to do, it'll have to be scaled back a bit and be a lot more agile, because it got bloated to fuck. Oh my god, they went way too deep into it and too fast, if you know what I mean. I'm honestly impressed, as I said in the notes here, that they're still even attempting this. Like, I would have thought that they would just drop this shit and fucking walked away. They are still fighting to try and make it work. I mean, following basically any Korean format for an esport, you should just do that already. They do it better than everyone else. Whatever it is that you think that you've hired some people in North America to try and outdo the Korean esports scene, stop. The Koreans have found a way to package their esports in such a way that they have entire fucking telecoms backing teams over there, where they're full salaries for players and everything. There's stability. You know where there's no stability? North America. Stop trying to do your own shit. Take the fucking L and just take whatever they're doing and mimic that shit for as best you can in the market that you have over here. And if you can't make it work, then just leave it there. Leave it in fucking Korea. I don't know. But it has to be way smaller, way more agile, and not spend nearly as much money and bloat as they have in the future, would be my estimation. But I'm just impressed again. I'm just impressed they're even fucking bothering. Like, Jeff, if you were there, you were at Blizzard, and you're looking at this, and you know you got to lay off another 50 esports employees, and you're like, are you going to make the call to try and keep making Overwatch League work because you see that it can work in a different region like Korea, or do you just say, guys, we've been fighting this for 3 going on 4 years here. We can't keep spending money like this. What do you think it's worth it? Do you think Overwatch as an intellectual property is worth the fight for this esport? Or do you think they should have already kind of cut their losses and walked away?
I mean, I just don't know the numbers, man. I just don't know. I don't know the details.
Well, we know insofar as that very few people are watching or interacting with it here.
Yeah.
We know elsewhere it's doing better, but I don't know to what
America
degree.
is always just a small subsection of most esports and most things. It's usually Korean and European.
The other big one is they lost China, remember, because NetEase, Blizzard's partner there, lost their license, did not get it re-signed, so the whole fucking Chinese market dropped out underneath.
Yeah, they need to give it up. They need to give it up, man. I think Overwatch League is just, it had its run. It's end now with a little bit of dignity, and just let the game do the thing. Just let some other organization burn money. Let
it be grassroots. We've said this before. Like an
StarCraft
esport,
did it.
to push an esport before it has grassroots esport.
Yeah.
Almost
tough, man.
always fails. Like
It just burns money. It just burns money. So, another thing is, I was still looking up. I just can't get over the StarCraft 3.
Go for it. What do you got? What'd you find?
So the guy actually, there was an article now from Insider Gaming.
Okay.
And it says StarCraft 3 is reportedly in development over Activision Blizzard. Read more. And they were basically quoting this Jez guy.
Yes.
And then he replied to the tweet and said, "I'm walking that back a bit. Don't use drunk sources. Laugh my ass off. But the franchise isn't dead. Put it that way." So I think
everyone's talking in such fucking generalities. Mike Ibarra. Everyone is in this weird.
I think there is no StarCraft 3, and I think that there is some other version of StarCraft that is not your standard typical RTS. That is gonna come out. Is it
mobile?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. I think there's gonna be a mobile game, or a PC game that's playable on mobile, and that's that. I'm actually gonna go and say there's a 95% chance you will never see StarCraft 3
ever. I think it's over. Same with Warcraft 4. I think it's done. That's all I'll say. I'm over.
Warcraft was always a smaller chance because they kind of fucked the entire storyline with World of Warcraft. And so you with an RTS, you still kind of need to have some sort of campaign to sell a fucking game, usually. And they kind of fucked themselves on that one. They wrote themselves into several different corners. So yeah, a bit challenging in that in that regard. But yeah, I everyone's talking so fucking vague that I agree. Like the odds of it being 3 specifically and not something that is just part of the StarCraft universe used in a different way.
Yeah.
That seems more likely that it's going in that direction.
I mean, he responded yup when somebody asked if there's a StarCraft 3, and he just responded yup. And then now he's reeling it back some, and he's like,
which is basically the same as like when Simu was like, "Please God, StarCraft 3," and Mike was like, "Smiley face."
And he didn't even say StarCraft 3. He said, "Please bring back StarCraft," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even StarCraft 3. And then,
but like Mike knows when somebody says bring back StarCraft, they're not like, please, I want a mobile gotcha game with StarCraft on the front of it.
Yeah, but it's all about headlines, man. That's all it is. I just think this journalist guy is just a fucking cock tease, man.
Hail Mary, StarCraft Ghost. Bring it out of the archives.
They've been talking about it forever. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible.
With the Microsoft buyout and the fact that they could like give, you know what I was thinking? They could give StarCraft Ghost to the Gears team.
Yep, they could.
Horde mode in StarCraft.
Yeah,
you got Zerg and shit.
All the Zerglings and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do with a StarCraft IP. You really could.
It's there,
and I'm in for it. I'm in.
Sure.
Just come
just
up
not
with a
mobile.
game.
Just don't be mobile.
Not mobile. Yeah, please God.
Well, like I know you're gonna do it anyway, but like don't make that the main thing. Don't do another Blizzard's already done this where it's like, don't you have phones? Don't do that again.
Yeah, no.
You can have it, just make it like a side piece.
A side piece. There you go.
It's a side piece. Last little note here, and it's a quick one. It's just kind of a fun thing to mention here. The Library of Congress in the U.S. announced that the NES Mario theme will be the first game song added to the National Recording Registry. And as it should. It's now one of 600 recordings in the registry, added since it began back in 2002. So this registry is kind of the if you've never heard of it before, it's an initiative of sorts. As it said, started up a little over 20 years ago, with the concept of preserving, music and music-related stuff for that were like culturally significant, like shifted things culturally or became part of the cultural zeitgeist, etc., etc. So some other examples that were given, 2 examples. One of these examples is really funny to me, but I can kind of see it because of how it was probably one of the first major shifts into like more Latin music becoming popular in North America. So one of them is, of course, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. Because, let's be honest, that one song basically made her a bajillionaire. It's everywhere. That is the Christmas song now. It used to be other shit. That's
getting
it.
Checks for life, bro.
That's it.
For life.
So that's in there. And then, what was his name? Was it Daddy Yankee or whatever? Like Gasolina?
Oh, yeah.
It's something Yankee, isn't it? I can't remember if it's Daddy Yankee or something.
Gasolina.
And so that one's in there as well, and 600 fucking other things. But now, like that shit is in there now, which is the first game piece. And yeah, fuck it. I mean, if you're going to argue for cultural significance, the original Mario theme is pretty fucking up there. So that's a good choice to go with. For sure. So that's that. That's the last one, which means it's time for a mini sellout, Mr. Black, right in the middle of what the fuck did you just put in your mouth?
It's a little bit of rice.
Oh, okay. It's so blown out on camera. I was trying to figure out what the fuck that was.
Patreon.com/LagTV. Head on over there if you want to support the podcast. You can support us directly for as low as $1 all the way up to as big as your wallet and your heart is. And if you can't afford to do that, that's okay. We understand. Show a little class and hit the damn like button and leave a comment. Share it with a friend. Do something. Just do
do your part. Because I'm barely doing mine. So, you know.
Somebody's gonna do it.
No, but if you guys want to support, there is Patreon, or liking and leaving a comment does help. And it is appreciated. Leaving a comment or what are they? A review on one of the many different RSS feeds that we're on goes a long way as well. And I think we've been doing this now for fucking like 6 years almost. It's been a long time.
This is season 6, so this is 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time. We're just getting old. We probably started this when I was like 30. I'm 36. All right. If y'all want to see us go till I'm fucking 40,
that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But we also, I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that we're still here or the fact that we still have viewers listening to this. So, one way or another, thank you.
Listen, for every 30-year-old plus male that decided to turn on a fucking computer with a microphone and start a podcast, there's at least 5 other 30-year-old males willing to listen. It's just, it's the way of the world. We're just part of the ecosystem. We're just out here.
And you never know. We might get a resurgence. We'll see what happens with Stormgate and all this other shit going on. StarCraft's doing pretty well for us. So we're out here. We're putting in the work. We're doing the thing. We're on our grind back up. We're on our quest back to 100,000 subs. So if you guys aren't subscribed here on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And that's all the sellout we'll do for here. We'll have Nord come back in the mix next month.
Which means it's time for
movies and TV.
Big news, and I'm sure you've got lots more tidbits than I have
Bigger
here.
News, Adam.
Bigger news. What is it?
Huge news.
Huge. Pam Anderson. Huge.
Massive news, Adam.
Tommy Lee's dick.
Temptation Island Season 5.
Ah!
We started it last night.
Em started watching it.
Yes.
She was
She
sick.
did.
She's been sick, so she was like, she ran through all of her content, and I went upstairs. I was playing, I was doing streaming. I went upstairs for water, and I swear to God, I look over, and I was like, did I hear Lana?
Yes.
And I look over, and I was like, cone.
No, wait, no, that's not Temptation.
Oh no, that's not
Island.
Temptation. No, sorry, that's
Too Hot to Handle.
That's Too Hot to Handle. She's watching Too Hot to Handle. My bad.
Okay.
I'm conflating them.
That's on too. And Kayla and I watched all the episodes. We're waiting until the 20. I think tomorrow they release 3 more.
Okay, I'm getting them conflated. There's so many of them now. I'm getting them fucking confused.
Temptation Island is the GOAT. It's better than all of them. It's better than X on the Beach and Perfect Match and Love Island and Love Island Australia and Love Island UK. I've watched them all. Love is Blind.
Did you watch Love is Blind Brazil?
No, I don't watch the other language ones.
Brazil is fun to watch because, dude, the passion level is fucking insane. Every one of them so emotional. It's crazy. Dude, different culture.
Is it a different vibe? Yeah. Okay. Maybe I tried out. There's just so much shit to watch that it's hard for me to like watch even the
so much dumpster fires. Shit. Only much time.
There was. I watched the preview and I started watching this. Kayla's like, "You got to turn this off" because it was in a different language. I think it was in Spanish.
Okay.
But there's a new show on Netflix called it's called Deep Fake Love.
Oh Jesus! Like I saw the fucking preview
where they
who signs up for that show,
bro. It basically takes the best parts of Temptation Island and then fakes all of the stuff, or maybe some of it's real. We don't know because I haven't watched the show.
The whole premise is it deep faked or not?
Exactly. And they basically, these couples that have been together from like 9 months to 9 years, they get separated into separate villas with a bunch of single people, and then they have like they go to this white room, and then they show clips and videos of their significant other potentially, making out, having sex, fucking giving blowies, whatever the case may be. And they don't know if it's a deep fake and it's actually not them, but it's just, other singles doing whatever, or it's actually them. and they just torture the other side. So I don't know. I might end up watching it just for the drama. Because I saw the trailer and it was already dramatic as fuck.
Dude in the chair was like, no.
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't. He was having a rough go. He was
going through it.
And then and then you gotta predict if it was deep faked or not. And then whoever has the most points at the end of the show wins $100,000 for the couple if they're even still together by the end of it. Because when these shows, right? What happens is just like in Temptation Island, is they'll go their separate ways. And then one of the couples or one person in a couple will end up cuddling with somebody, or they'll say something bad about their spouse and be like, you know what? I really wish my man would listen to me more. And, oh, you're so thoughtful. And it starts like emotional infidelity, and they start saying things because now they're in a tropical place with the booze flowing and these sexy people, and you just get caught, you get lost in the sauce, you're horny as fuck, and the next thing you know you're saying something. Then the person on the other side gets a little at the bonfire, they get a little video, and it's like, oh, I wish my man would listen to me the way that you do. He's always so short with me, and you just make me feel, I don't know, it's hard to explain. And then the guy on the other end is sitting there going, the fuck? Is this bitch crazy? I don't listen to her. Do they not understand? I just said no to a girl telling me that she wants to get on top of me. Next thing you know they're going back to the spot, and all the girls they're like sharks. There's like blood in the water and they smell it and they're just slithering around, and they're like, oh, how did the bonfire go? And the dude's like crying and he's like, oh man, she's just, and then the girl would be like, you don't deserve that. You need somebody that's going to be there for you, that's going to be loyal to you. He's going to hold, and then it just starts seeping in, and next thing you know he's saying, yeah, she never got me. I can't stand her, and I can't, it's like talking to a wall and blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know maybe he kisses this girl and he's like, fuck it, man. She's fucking on me. I'm going to do something. And then the girl bonfire happens, and then she sees, and of course they edit it in a way that looks as possibly
terrible as possible.
Yeah, just as terrible as possible. And all she hears is, this bitch is crazy as hell. I can't believe she's doing this to me. And then next thing you know, the kiss. And then the girl goes, oh, this motherfucker. I cannot believe I'm going to suck a dick. I'm sucking it. I'm going to go and suck this dick when I get back. And then the dick sucking happens. And then the guy sees the dick sucking. And then the threesome happens. And then the girl says, and then it's fucking wild. And then reality sinks in. And they're both miserable. They're like, oh man, what have I done? It's great. It's good TV. It's good TV. It's great TV. I love it. So Temptation Island is back. Season 5. We watched the first episode last night. I think there's like 5 episodes out. I'm ready to go.
Just the investment is so real. The investment is real.
So real.
I enjoy it, but like I get in a mood and I'll binge it all. But I have to be in that mood. Otherwise, I turn it on, all I look at, I'm just looking at these people, and I just feel bad for them because they're all so fucking dumb. And I just can't fucking, it's like watching a bunch of people navigating a world that they never even knew fucking existed before. It's just so, it's just Bambi on ice. It's fucking embarrassing. The worst, I think what I get the most entertainment value out of, though, is like either Temptation Island or not Love is Blind, but the one that Em was just watching, fucking, is that Temptation Island?
No, she's watching Too Hot to Handle.
Too Hot to Handle. So like Too Hot to Handle, what makes Too Hot to Handle really funny for me is it's a bunch of beautiful people. And I'll say that tentatively because there's so much plastic surgery going on that half the time I think they're all hideous. But beautiful people. Then in life, they're the bar scene people. They're the people that do nothing but go clubbing.
Yes.
That's their entire existence is clubbing.
Yes.
And they're attractive. Media. Yeah, and they're attractive enough that when they go clubbing, they don't have to work for fucking anything. Nope. They want to make out with some random person? Easy. You want some drinks? Done. You want to get your dick sucked? Over. You want to get your back blown out? How many guys you want? It's all there for the taking. Easy peasy. And they get on the show and they actually have to like interact outside of a bar with no alcohol, no
bubble,
music, no doonts, and they have to actually like try to have like game, and none of them have game. They're hopeless. The whole lot of them.
It's great.
And when they get rejected because they have no game,
they can't handle.
It's like watching a robot you ask to divide by 0. They're like,
oh yeah, but they don't even know how to act. They almost can't believe that it's happening to them, and their reaction is, well, fuck you, man. Fuck you. I don't need you. I'm better than you. And then the guys.
Look at all this you're giving up.
Yeah. The girls would be like, oh, you deserve better than him anyway. Like, he isn't even on your level.
The guys are like, you dodged a bullet, bro. She's fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah. Never stick your dick in crazy. Like, that's what they'll say, right? But then again, if they're like, oh, I think I'm in love, they're like, oh, yeah, man, go for it. Oh, yeah. It's just a bunch of yes people. It's a shit show. It's an absolute shit. I'm there for it. I'm there for it every time, bro. It just makes me feel better about my own life. I just watch it and I'm like, you know what, man? This is just great entertainment. Thank you, Netflix. Thank you. It's amazing. I love it.
Speaking of deepfake and AI, it's a great segue to what the first topic here is, coincidentally. But the SAG-AFTRA deals with all the striking, Mr. Black, that's been going on, because now they're both involved. Writers are involved, actors are involved, everyone's a fucking just 5 alarm right now. Certainly has been interesting, almost like the Black Mirror episode that led the current season. I don't know if you watched Black Mirror yet for this season.
No.
The first episode dealt with like almost this exact fucking scenario, so it's kind of Black Mirror almost always has at least 3 or 4 hits in the season, where it's like too real, and this was one of them. Where one of the proposals about a week ago now, one of the proposals suggested that background actors, now what constitutes a background actor, I don't know, but it's who fucking knows, and they would have written it that vaguely for that exact reason.
So they could fuck people over for
yeah.
sure.
So background actors be paid for one day rate, background actor, to then be body scanned for their likeness, that likeness of which owned and to be used by in perpetuity with no residuals in any project for the owning company as they please.
Nope.
That was one of the proposals.
Bro, I gotta piss so bad, and I'm not gonna make it to the end of the podcast if I don't.
Do it! Go! But that was one of the proposals. Imagine that. Imagine you are, whether you're a relatively small actor or somebody that's got a little bit more clout underneath your belt. That was actually the whole Black Mirror episode. If you've not seen this first episode, it kind of centers around the concept of artificial intelligence to a degree, and using people's likenesses for other people's likenesses in some sort of weird, like, almost Inception meets The Truman Show is probably what that episode best represents. If I had to try to describe it, which on its own should make you intrigued enough to watch that episode. And also you get to see Salma Hayek be fucking amazing, and so you should watch it for that reason as well. But really, like, on the nose. And so when I saw this, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is literally what I just watched in Black Mirror. But the concept of getting paid for a single day, having your likeness taken, and being able to be used in perpetuity in movies is just insane. And they wanted that as part of the deal. They're trying to sneak that kind of shit in. Absolutely fucking crazy.
No, it's crazy as hell. It's crazy as hell. And so the first it was the writer's strike, now it's the actor's strike. Now there is rumor that what Hollywood was gonna do is they were basically gonna wait them out and force them to give up. So essentially they're gonna say, okay, fuck the writers. We're just gonna continue to work on what we have, keep filming, and then we'll deal with it next year. And you guys can't pay your rent. You can't pay you guys are going to be fucked. But then the actors went on strike as well. And they can't, the actors will get a deal before the writers will. Yeah. There's no doubt about it, right? Because now Hollywood is basically at a fucking standstill. There's just, it is what it is. Like any unionized thing at this point, you're pretty much fucked. Yeah, they're pretty much fucked. So, and not only that, you got to understand too, is every single day that the actors aren't acting, the studios are spending tons of money. Oh yeah, millions of dollars. There's a whole, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people employed on these films.
And it's not only just to do with the loans that they take out to make these movies. There's interest in all this stuff. This isn't the way Hollywood works. There isn't some like bank account that like Christopher Nolan has from the studio, and he can just go in there and take money out as he wishes. They got to take out a loan for this. There's like proper things that you got to put in line like any other business. And there's interest on these things. And we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in budgets. This shit ain't cheap. Not only that, you gotta pay out for locations. A lot of the times you gotta pay the city to like block out places and fucking. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And then there's the release cycle. If movies, you can't just miss a weekend at the movies. You can't just go, okay, you know what? I didn't get on, July 18th. I'll just, we'll release it next week. It don't work like that. There's only so many auditoriums. There's so many movies that come out. You got to strategically place your movies against other movies that aren't sort of in the same demographic, so that you're not fighting for an audience. People only have so much money. People, historically, there's specific weekends and times a year where certain types of movies and studios do better on other. All of this comes into play. So the longer that the actors are on strike, the whole fucking thing is fucked. And not only that, we're just starting to play catch up from COVID. COVID fucked a lot of shit up. And there's still tons of movies that haven't even been released because of COVID. They can't just go and just release it. So they need to work out a deal. And yes, you're right. The CEO of Disney said that they're being unreasonable. So their demands are apparently unreasonable. We don't know what they are, and we don't know if they're being unreasonable for, say, the AI thing, or the deep fake, or the residuals, or the day pay, or whatever. We don't know exactly. Are they being unreasonable for all of them? Are they being unreasonable for one part of it? We don't know. But there was another actress, and I forget her name, but I was reading up. She was the star of Orange is the New Black, one of the stars, and she was in like 44 or 48 episodes or some shit. And she had made, and I'm paraphrasing here. I don't so don't take this as facts, but it's not too much more. She made a few $100s in royalties.
That was their biggest show for like 3 straight years.
Yes, it was fucking massive. They were saying that stars on the show couldn't afford to take a cab to set. And some of them were still working as bartenders on the side throughout these seasons. That's just, and it's Orange is the New Black. We're talking about one of, if not the biggest.
It floated Netflix for like 3 years.
For years. It was the Netflix show. It was it was their Stranger Things. It was like, it was the thing. Like, I even watched like the first 4 seasons of it until
it was a good show.
Until it got old. But yeah, that's crazy. And the problem that they're having is a lot of this stuff that they have in place was meant for a different medium. It was meant for movies, television. Now we're talking about VODs. We're talking about things that are there in perpetuity and can be used for however long. TV, you have certain syndications. You get a certain amount of seasons in. You're guaranteed a certain amount of kickback. I think it's like if it gets to season 6 or season 7, your pay not only goes up, but like you start getting big residuals. For Netflix shows and shit, they don't do any of that stuff. They don't. It's basically like you get paid to show up, do your part, and then whatever we decide to do with the thing that you're in and however we want to distribute it, that's just the way it is. And that worked for a little while, but now people are going, well, what about all this subscription stuff? But then again, Netflix is also spending, and it's not just Netflix. We're talking like Prime Video, we're talking HBO. Like, this isn't just a Netflix issue. But basically they're getting fucked on. They're basically getting squeezed until there's literally nothing left there to squeeze. And the problem is these productions are costing, when you can give Daniel Craig $50 million per Knives Out movie and Ryan Johnson $50 million per as well, we're talking, that's $200 million for two people. For two movies, a Knives Out? That's not even going in theaters?
No.
I mean, just think about that.
No.
Just think about that. Citadel, which I did a sponsored thing on Twitch, and I actually enjoyed the show a great deal. I watched the whole thing. I watched 2 episodes on stream, and then I actually ended up watching the whole series on my own. It's a good show. It's got Richard Madden in it. It's a good espionage show. Their budget was like $300 million for 6 episodes. $300 million. I'm going to be honest. That show doesn't look like $300 million. It just doesn't. So I don't know where the money goes. It doesn't look like a bad show. Don't get me wrong. It's filmed well. It's got great actors and actresses in it. The direction's good. The action's good. I mean, but $300 million? I mean, Jesus. I mean, that's like Avatar. Look at the fucking shit they do. So, you know, if I think I'm trying to put myself in the actors' shoes and the writers and things like that. If you're willing to spend $50 million to have Daniel Craig
do a bad Southern accent in Knives Out.
And Knives Out, why in the fuck can't you pay your actors and actresses
and writers
reasonable wages to make up for today's times? Because it's very clear that things are much more expensive across the board, and people just want to do what they love and be paid accordingly for it. And you guys know me, I'm a capitalist, man. I understand that these studios got to make money. I get that. But I can't conceptualize. I can't even, you know, it's
clearly there's enough money.
Yes,
like clearly. It's not even like it's hidden.
No, it's just there. Right?
It's just there. Yeah.
If you're gonna give Robert Downey Jr. $50 million to play Iron Man, I get it, because when he's in the movie, he's gonna bring in
it's $1 billion movie,
right? He's gonna bring in $400 million just on him.
Yes,
because Iron Man's in it. It's Robert Downey Jr., right?
Yes.
So, like, you know, if Robert Downey Jr. jumps in with Spider-Man, the movie goes from $1 billion to $1.4 billion, just like that. I get it. $50 million bucks. It's your economic worth. Okay, I understand. But Netflix,
they just throw money around. They just throw money around.
They just got like a blank check, and they're like, "Yo, I want The Rock. Rock, how much?" And he's like, $50 million, which I actually do believe. He just set the record for the biggest payday in movie history. And I forget what movie it is. Let me see here. The Rock, biggest payday. Let me see here. So, reportedly received the biggest paycheck ever for an actor for the up-and-coming Christmas film, according to which he's earning guaranteed over $50 million for Red One.
Oh, for Red One.
For Red One.
For The Rock. To do a movie that will not make more than, let's say,
who knows,
300,
right?
400 million in revenue if they're really lucky.
If they're lucky, bro.
If they're fucking insanely lucky.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay him that, and then you compare that to Robert Downey getting 50 for Iron Man. Like, it's not hard to see which ones are, like, and it's not even that it's not like that's not The Rock's fault or Rock's agent's fault. They just go in and if Netflix is known, like, the problem with the streaming services is that they're all trying to spend each other out of the fucking market.
Correct.
And at the same time, you've got the agents go in, they know that they're trying to spend each other out of the market. So they go in and they say, "Hey, I'm representing Dwayne The Rock fucking Johnson, $7, Tiamana fucking whatever, all this bullshit fucking." And guess what? He's worth $55 million to play in a Christmas film. And the guys at Netflix are like, "Well, sure."
Yeah.
Write a check.
To get the big dog, right? It's like, it's very similar to the streaming wars right now, right? It's like, hey, we'll fucking spend $100 million on X to come over to Kick, which, you know, great. And I mean, he does bring value, but like at the same time,
it's not $100 million.
It's not $100 million, right? So then you got to pick and choose. And I think the problem is yes, there are the front leading men and women in Hollywood that are making fuck tons of money, but it is the thousands and thousands and thousands of the ones that are putting together all of this that are basically in poverty.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. And, you know, like I said, you guys know me. I'm all for studios making their money, in which they should. They take a big risk. They put a lot of money up on the line. You know, I understand that. But at the same time, when you are seeing those things on Netflix and you're spending $100 million for two people, a director and the directors are already taken care of. They already got a decent deal. It's the writers and it's the actors, the majority of the actors, because there are still some that are getting filthy rich, which, okay. But god damn, the streaming stuff is out of whack, bro. It's out of fucking whack.
Some people
12-hour, 15-hour days.
Yes.
That these people are on set in really not great conditions, making on average $200 a day.
Yeah.
And yet the actor, The Rock, has got his own gym on the outside that they build for him, his Iron Paradise. He's got his 15 trailers, 2 side pieces, and all the steroids and juice you can think of, and your own meal, your own chef and everything. And he just shows up and does The Rock, and he's got 50 million while all the peasants are there making $200 a day.
It's some people have such inflated egos about how much value they bring, so that they can convince themselves that they're like the money they're making while everyone else around them is dying is insane. Like especially like The Rock, like you have to think about that for like 2 seconds. And it's more ironic because he built like his entire brand on the $7 fucking goddamn product. Like the irony is so fucking thick. It's insane. It's not even irony. It's just disrespect at this point. Because irony would imply that, you know, he's unaware that it's happening. You know goddamn well Dwayne Johnson knows what he's doing, walking into his Iron Paradise while everyone else is walking around fucking just dying. Like, it's just so stupid. And if you think about, like, the writers, like the last time there was a writer strike in like the late aughts, what was it, 2007, 2008, somewhere in there?
Yeah, it was when Quantum of Solace was out. I remember that was 2008, I think.
Look at the quality of everything went to shit.
Oh, it
was terrible.
Dude, I just watched Succession. It was some of the greatest writing I have ever fucking seen.
Like the actors bring it, but they have to bring writing to the fucking screen.
It's collaborative work, man. It's just because the front people are the ones that have the eyes on them doesn't mean that the real magic isn't happening behind the scenes, because it is. If not, you just got some good actors sitting there playing pretend while everybody else is out there taking their stuff and elevating it to make them stars.
That's like Keanu giving like all sorts of his money to the production teams from Matrix, and I can't remember. I can't remember if it was Keanu or somebody else, like Bill Murray or somebody. No. Oh shit, who was it? One of them, I can't remember who it is on top of my head, but every movie they work on, in their contract, they have to hire like 2 or 3 or 4 homeless people to work on set and pay them appropriately. Like there are people, like there are actors and actresses out there that are good. Like they get it. They're looking at it going, I am not personally, like I'm not the only one that's going to make this movie make $1 billion. I'm the face, so it's easy to point at me and go, people want to go see Keanu Reeves. People want to go see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But if you put Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson back into like his fucking like early, like what was the movie, like Drive Hard or whatever the fuck that movie was back, Scorpion King or something. Like, come on, bro, you weren't getting top production value, and it's not like his acting has improved. So let's not pretend like The Rock has suddenly become better.
Actor. No.
It's
I don't want to make this a shit on The Rock thing.
I do.
Because, like, you know, okay. But, like, you know, the Rock definitely has significant value. He's got a massive following. Like, like, everything he touches, except for, like, Black Adam, does pretty fucking well, right? And that was more his ego than anything. He was a big reason why that thing failed, not the studio. Yeah. But, like, I get it. The Rock is The Rock. But all I'm saying is, you know, if The Rock instead of had 50 million, or Daniel Craig, we'll use because The Rock has done Netflix stuff and they paid him. Same with Ryan Reynolds. Same with like Gal Gadot. Like Netflix is paying these guys
huge money.
huge money.
Well, they were all in Red Notice together or whatever the fuck it's called.
You
Yeah.
know they fucking spent a fucking bag on that
And
dog
that movie
shit
was
movie.
terrible.
It was so bad, bro. It was like, let's get 3 big stars together and create ass. CGI was bad. Story was awful. Acting was terrible. It was just fucking an awful, awful movie that nobody talks about. And
Nobody
is completely
watched.
forgotten.
No.
Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares.
And they spent a bunch on fucking advertising and everything, and it just bombed. Just
Yes,
brutal.
And so why not pay these guys $10 million less a piece and just take care of everybody? It'd be
There's
too
so
easy.
much money in the entertainment industry. It's fucking. It's like
Dude,
it's just
I
insane.
really hope that they can hold out, bro. I hope that the writers and the actors play hardball and get what the fuck they need.
I gotta be honest. You know what? I would like to, like, in a perfect world, even though it still requires them to not be striking, I'm okay if we went back to like the 90s in terms of how movies were made and what movies were picked and greenlit. Like, you could still greenlight stuff like Good Will Hunting in the fucking 90s and make that happen. Greenlighting Good Will Hunting right now on anything that isn't like a small deal on Netflix is basically fucking impossible. If you don't walk in and say this movie has the Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Gal Gadot and fucking all these other, and it's gonna, you know, we're positive it's gonna make $600 million on day 5. Like, all this shit, they won't even fucking make it anymore, and they had the fucking nuts to not pay 95% of the people making the movies that make that money anyway. It's just such an unsustainable train wreck. It's no wonder that even with COVID being over, they're still struggling to get people to fucking get involved. Like, it doesn't shock me that it's an unsustainable mess, and it passes on. It gets to the point we talked about before in theaters. Why are people staying at home? It costs $7 million per person to go watch a movie. God, that's without the popcorn.
I went to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning there a few days back, and my ticket was $25 for an IMAX ticket. $25 because I bought it online, so it cost me extra $1. You know, it's like I went by myself. I got a pulled pork poutine and a drink, and it was like a $50 ordeal for me. For me, right? Just one person by myself, holding it down.
I will
do Tom Cruise.
I will say, Talia, and that's worth go seeing. I will say that there are stuff getting greenlit, but not by major studios. It's small studios taking on, like A24.
Oh, they're the savior of fucking movies right now. Holy shit.
Yes.
I will watch anything and everything A24 releases.
100%.
And I just hope they don't sell out. Just keep doing what you're doing. You got a lane, and that fucking lane is goated. It is fucking goated, bro. So, yeah. And Oppenheimer. I'm going to go and see that shit very soon.
Not like, front row.
Probably this weekend. No, of course not. I'll be like 6-7 rows back.
I need an update on that motherfucker that booked the front row.
Oh,
in the 70
millimeter. Yeah,
I need an update on that guy. Did he survive?
I hear the movie's so good.
Bro.
I hear it's so good.
They let the man basically blow up a fucking bomb just to film it so it wasn't CGI. It's going to be fucking nuts.
Apparently there is no CGI in this movie at all. Everything is practical, and it's all on 70 millimeter film. We're not talking.
He went all in.
Guys, we're not talking. I don't think you understand.
Not 35.
Means.
Not 35.
This ain't 35 millimeter. This ain't digital. This motherfucker had film. Big fucking massive rolls. When if you are able to go to the IMAX and you have a 70 millimeter IMAX, there is going to be a massive 3-hour circle of actual film with no CGI, and it looks incredible.
Bro, 70 mil translated, like in terms of what would that end up being in like resolution? It's got to be pushing like fucking 12K.
A lot. All of it. All of it. All of it. So prepare your bodies. And apparently it's back. It's Christopher Nolan back. I'm ready. Tenet was a miss for me.
Tenet was a hard miss.
It's a hard miss, bro. And apparently, this is the best audio
I was about to
that
ask.
Christopher Nolan has ever done. You can
Because imagine if he fucked this one up.
yeah, no.
Like conversations whisper quiet and then they drop a bomb and you die. Like that guy in front row would be dead.
Yes.
If it was traditional Christopher Nolan audio mixing, which isn't even mixing. I think he just takes everything raw and just throws it into the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Leaves
Like, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Just, I want it to look like it sound like it was when we filmed it.
It's cinema.
So anyway, that we'll I'm sure we will hear more about the strikes. I think we're gonna see them work out a deal with the actors pretty fucking quick, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, it's true. The actors might hold out to support the writers. Because we'll seeing
see.
a lot of actors kind of be on that fence, but there's also lots of them that just want to get paid because they're
They just wanna get
Hollywood
paid,
actors.
bro. Yeah,
They're Hollywood actors.
Yeah.
Braun, the studio behind Joker, and more recently the Pan show The Idol, God, that's a fucking show that never should have happened, have filed for bankruptcy. And I just have here, I have no idea what that means for the Joker sequel, because they were also heading that up, but they filed for bankruptcy. And so between the strikes and this bankruptcy, I don't know what the fuck happens to the Joker sequel at this
Well,
point.
I'm pretty sure it's already filmed and done.
Is it already filmed and done?
This year. Yeah, I think it comes out. Sequel will come out October 4th. Oh no, it
Okay.
comes out 2024. 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're done filming that.
Are they? Yeah. Okay, well then it might be safe at that
Yeah,
point.
I mean, they who knows? That I actually didn't hear about the
Yeah, they fall from bankruptcy. They got sued at one point here for millions on not making good on a few contracts for some of their projects, and between that and I suspect pandemic stuff, and then the Idol basically being the fucking laughingstock of the world.
they finished 15 weeks ago. They finished filming 15 weeks
Okay,
ago.
so they like just dodged that fucking bullet.
Yeah. So they're good.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, they're bankruptcy.
Interesting.
Yeah. There you go. And that's all I've got for movies and TV. As far as I know, I don't think I've seen too much recently worth talking about anyway.
Yeah, no, I only saw Dead Reckoning. It was good. Like 8 out of 10.
Okay.
And it's a part 1, so like it's a little incomplete, obviously.
Yeah.
But there was enough of a conclusion to certain arcs and things that like it still felt
Satisfying.
like a satisfying, complete, but looking forward to the next sort of installment. And it's just Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, and he does Tom Cruise very well. And there was some other kick-ass characters in there as well. Some kick-ass women in the movie that wasn't like damsel in distress. They just were out there doing the thing. So that was nice to see. I thought it was a little bit overhyped. Just I went in with pretty high expectations, and I left feeling slightly underwhelmed, but just slightly, but still satisfied. And it was crazy because there's a scene at the end of this movie that is basically identical to the scene that is at the end of Fast X, and I, no joke, thought that they had taken. I was like,
like stock footage or something.
Like I thought that for whatever reason, and I didn't really think it, but it went through my mind where I was like, am I now watching Fast X? Like it was so crazy how close
It was.
the way it was filmed, the way it looked, the devices they used, how they used. I was like, my God, it obviously wasn't the same movie, but they must have been punching the air when Fast 10 came out, and they saw like, what the fuck? No way that they have this scene in here. So
Well,
outside of that, good movie.
awesome. And since that's it, it's time to move on to
Tech support.
Patreon.com/LagTV is the place to go if you want to financially support the podcast. As Mr. Black mentioned earlier during a sellout, for $5 more a month, you can get a couple of things. Chiefly, you get to ask us a question on a post I put up before the podcast on the Patreon page called Tech Support. And you get to ask us questions there. We give you some answers, and then take the rest of the questions over to StarCraft casts to try and squeak them in where we can. Let's see what we got this week. Logan asks, have you guys, it's movie related, so might as well keep that train going. Have you guys watched Across the Spider-Verse? If so, what were your thoughts? I loved it, and it's my favorite superhero movie.
I unfortunately did not go to the IMAX and see it. Just never found the time or even made the time, and I'm beating myself up because I so loved the first one, and I went in begrudgingly. I just went out for a date night with Kayla to go watch the movie, and I just was blown away with how fucking incredible it was. So I'm gonna have to watch it when it comes on. Like Kayla and I, we wanted to go, but we just for whatever reason we just couldn't get.
It just didn't happen.
It just didn't happen. So when it comes on digital, Kayla and I will definitely sit down and watch that here at home. So
yeah, I'm in a similar boat in that, but just slightly different reasons. So I'm not the world's biggest Spider-Man fan. I liked a lot the last movie for Spider-Man, just the visually. I mean, it's hard not to enjoy it, and I just thought it was very well done. And this one is apparently even better. So. I do want to watch it. It was just because I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, I wasn't about to spend $100 to go to the movie theater to watch it.
Nah.
And so I'll wait and watch it when I can on digital.
I will see Oppenheimer. I will go out of my way to go and see that fucking movie in IMAX.
Yes, yeah.
That is happening.
We don't get the 70. We don't get the 70 mil here in Halifax, do we?
No. We still get IMAX. I mean, the whole thing was filmed on IMAX, but we don't. To my knowledge, I think it's all digital. In our IMAX. I don't even know where we'd have to travel to get the closest 70.
Toronto or Montreal, probably.
Might be, yeah.
Let's see.
August 8th, it'll be on digital, the Across Spider-Verse. All right, sweet. I'll check it out then.
There you go. Soon.
Couple weeks.
Dr. Samurai, Jeff, if you write a second edition of your book, The Grind, Part 2, Grind Harder, that was not it. This is what I imagine you should call it personally. Then do you have any interest in presenting it as a guest lecture at UNLV the next time you're in Vegas? I ask because I may be able to make that happen.
I mean, I'm definitely down. I don't know about making a second book.
I don't think a book is necessary. You could just do the talk because it wouldn't. It's.
I'd be down to do a talk.
Yeah.
And if you're serious, you can always shoot me an email. LikeTVMaximusBlack@gmail.com, or you can send it off to the Life's a Glitch TV @gmail.com, and I'll see it. But I'd be down. I think if I made a second book, I think I would either do a real estate book. But the reason why I would never do one is because there's so many good real estate books out there that what are you going to add? What am I going to add to it? I think if I made another book, though, I would probably create either a book about raising a son as a gamer and kind of not documenting per se, but talking about kind of living through my son and the differences between gaming when I was a kid and then gaming through how my son games and sort of what he thinks of games and what is cool and stuff, and then what I thought was cool and what I thought about games. But then if I wanted to stay on the grind theme, I could make a book called Life After the Grind. But I'm still kind of living that part. So I don't have enough knowledge yet.
Haven't gotten to that part yet?
No, because I only work about, on a high end, 50 hours a week, and I would honestly say on average it's 45 is what I work. 2 years ago, it was and all in, it was between 80 and 100 hours every week. So I'm I pretty much work normal people hours for the most part, maybe a little bit more, but I'm not grinding the way I used to. So sometimes I wish I was. I really do, but I don't think I'll do that again until I have another career. But we'll see.
There's lots of time.
Maybe Stormgate will do it for me. Who knows? I get another couple of years of grinding out.
The Blainer in StarCraft 2, if you could fuse two units together to create a new one, which units would you fuse and what would you call it?
I'm gonna go with a stalker and a DT, and I'm gonna go and call it the the Stock Templar. I don't know. I don't know the or maybe we'll call it like a dark a dark stalker.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I can go
I
with
don't
that.
know.
Yeah, that's better.
You can blink around. You've got you can't be seen. You can merge. You can still
Sounds
create.
like a fair and balanced unit.
Oh, it's super imbalanced. But hey, I'm just answering the question.
Man, I think I would merge the Terran dropship with the Terran Liberator and call it Obamacare.
I like it.
I think that would be an interesting unit. Imagine a Liberator being able to carry less units than a dropship, but when it drops, it engages itself as a Liberator would, so it protects the drop zone.
I like it. I like it.
Going for that. Obamacare coming to StarCraft 3. In the not too distant future.
Isn't Obamacare no longer a thing?
I have no fucking idea.
I thought Obamacare was.
They name everything in the fucking states. So like is Obamacare now? It's like Bidenomics, which I think was ironically like a Republican-led campaign to like make it sound bad, and then the Democrats were like, "Fuck it, we'll just actually call it Bidenomics or some shit." They have to have everything's a fucking name. It's really just reality television. If we're gonna be
Trump Care, we'll call it
Trump Care
or something. They came up with Trump bucks when he was just like giving people money. Trump bucks. They called it literal Trump bucks because the people had to know who gave them the out. It was Trump.
It had to be.
Bucks.
That's right. Let's see. Brennan asks, what?
Bro, when we were at UFC, I don't want to give too many details, but when we were at UFC,
because what happens in Vegas stays.
Donald Trump was there.
Yes, I saw that. I saw Joe Rogan shaking his hand or some shit in a clip.
My God, dude, Mr. Miyagi, man.
Oh no.
Anyway, I'll tell you about it when we're done.
Yeah, Miyagi's not a fan of Donald Trump.
No, he's not a fan of Donald Trump.
Definitely not a fan of Donald Trump.
Neither am I, by the way.
No, yeah. But Miyagi's like a
he really
different perspective, I think, on Donald Trump. Brennan asks, now that third-party Reddit apps are dead and your podcast is my only attachment to the rest of the world, oh, you're so fucked. If that's the case, I'm so sorry. Do you guys have any recommendations for websites or podcasts for current events and news? I've got no Twitter, no Facebook or Instagram, and I need to connect with civilization again.
YouTube. Just go on YouTube. There's tons of
now as far as like
what about Spotify? What's wrong with Spotify?
Nothing. I think he's just asking for like not places necessarily. Are there podcasts specifically that you know of? Like obviously locations you can go to Spotify and find podcasts. Like it's not hard. Or you can go to YouTube and find podcasts. Although that can be a bit harder to seek them out. As far as like recommending certain podcasts and stuff, I don't watch a lot of podcasts that do current event stuff that frequently. I tend to use social media and then just follow certain people for certain topics and just do it that way. And I don't even know if I could recommend anyone right now. And YouTube's in a weird spot in that the whole website's moved into like shorts, like heavily. Yeah. And which means it's basically become a reposting location from TikTok. And that's been largely shit. It also means that you're getting a bunch of like, really low quality content, like the Technical Alpha podcast. It's hard to say, and I don't think I know a lot of the people that used to do decent current events just stopped doing that shit because it wasn't popular enough. We're at a race to the bottom content wise for like, how fucking quickly can you put something together to milk people of their money and have enough things blinking on screen to keep their attention. We talked about this on my stream the other day. There was because the Wall Street Journal, it was Wall Street Journal. It was or was it Wall Street? Anyway, no, maybe not. Could have been something else. Anyway, Washington Post maybe. Gene did an article on the new like trend of NPC TikTok streams. You see that shit?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Bro.
I did. Is that one where the girl
idle animations
and
and like ice cream, yum yum.
I did see that. I did actually see that. It was weird. I'm like, what is this weird shit?
It's so basically, it's a live stream on TikTok. They're just literally doing like Street Fighter select your character idle animation shit, while people are using like basically like Twitch bits almost, but on TikTok that have emotes attached to them, and they pop up on screen, and every one of them have like their own reaction to each one of those, and they just sit there and do that for like fucking some nondescript period of time. And like it's another avenue for like every OnlyFans fucking chick. There's guys that do it too, and whatnot to funnel people in. And when I saw it, that was probably I think if I'm ever gonna look back when I'm even older than now, but like properly old, like in my 60s or some shit, and somebody's gonna ask me when did you start to think that like we were in like truly dystopian times? That's probably it. I think that's the marker for me. Like I've seen some shit.
I'm gonna bite.
We've lived on the internet, Mr. Black. I'm not going to speak for you, but we've lived on the internet and seen some shit. Okay, we were there. Right. We grew up with the internet when it was the Wild West. We saw some shit we shouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, and so we've seen degeneracy and fucking wild stuff for a long time. But this whole, like, in the last 5 years, the shift of, like, attention spans getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter in terms of content consumption online, what's been popular, and everything converging to this, like, distilling into NPC interactions with emoticons on TikTok. With it actually freaked me the fuck out. I'm gonna be honest. It kind of freaked me the fuck out.
Well, I thought it was like AI shit at first. Like I thought it was like
they're kind of mimiking that. Like that's the idea to a degree, right?
Yeah.
And AI will 100%. They will deep fake that shit next week.
Yes, and people will make tons of money thinking some real person sitting there doing whatever, right? And it's just some fucking sweaty fuck somewhere in the middle of God knows where on a computer just raking in money. I have at some point when I just don't care about my career anymore, I will speak my mind. I'm dead serious. Like
I'm sure
there is so much shit that I see on a regular basis on the internet. It's popular and it's I'm just like, no.
But that's the thing, right? So like if it wasn't popular and they were doing it, it's easier to look at it and go, well, that's a corner of some shit.
Exactly.
But now, like if it's popular, like how are you supposed to, it's like, you respect the grind. It's like, it's popular.
Yeah.
It's going to make you money. You shelf the fact that like, God help you, if you ever fucking have your grandchildren see it, because how you explain that. And then like you just do your thing and you make your money because the money is there for the taking for you. But I'm not concerned about the people doing it. I'm concerned that it's popular. That's my concern.
I'm concerned for both. I really am. I'm more exactly. It's the fact it's popular. I'm more concerned. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't know who I will offend, because we just live in a fucking world where everybody gets offended if you say anything that goes against anybody's happiness. And if you find happiness in your little AI weird shit, so be it. But like, I just think shit like that is just, I truly believe that it's just not good for society. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a fucking ignorant asshole, and I guess in some ways I can be, but like there is just some shit that I'm just seeing. I'm just losing faith. And it makes me want to leave the internet. Like I actually, like before when people were like, oh man, I I don't want Twitter. I don't want Facebook. I don't want Instagram. I don't want none of that shit. I used to be that guy, be like, come on, man. Like, your shit's all like, you're come on. Like, what are you hiding from? As Andrew Tate will say, the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you hiding from? It's out there. But now I get it. Like, I'm actually starting to get it. Where I'm like, that's why I don't do TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I don't do TikTok. I just can't. I don't do WhatsApp. Or not WhatsApp. The other one, the with the yellow thing.
Snapchat.
Snapchat. I don't do Snapchat. I can't, man. I can't. And not only that, dude. There's also just some weird shit on the internet that, like, there's like rabbit holes I just don't want to go down.
Well, as the internet's getting bigger and bigger, it's getting populated by more and more people from different places in the world, all converging. And a lot of stuff that would have been like, a lot, and all this stuff that would be like a more of a taboo nature, regardless of culture that the person's coming from, because the internet is global and there's so many people, you can find enough people to band together under that thing.
Yes.
That it breaks out of the taboo just by virtue of enough people finding each other to do it. Some of that is a positive thing. Some of that is it's the great double-edged sword of the internet is its availability and its openness for people to find each other and share and interact with ideas and stuff that is either with or counterculture. That's its greatest weakness and its greatest strength.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be like trying to walk a fine line. But I do think like one of the things that that I think about for a lot of the, I'll say this because I'm not worried about people getting upset with me. I don't have a career. I make $4 a fucking day. Is that my concern is not the kid. I'm going to say kids, but not the kids finding the shit. Because the kids like you and I growing up, you're going to find it. You're going to see some shit.
Of course.
That's going to happen.
Of course.
Can't stop that. So I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about with the OnlyFans movement. There are a lot of women doing OnlyFans, for example, and men that have the honest to God mindset that they really like they're comfortable being a sex worker. Like that's fine with them. And they don't mind it if their family isn't okay with it or if their kids find out that they do it in the future. But if I had to take a guess, that is a really small percentage of the people that are doing it because everyone, especially during the pandemic, found out about how much money was being made. And they just went and did it and didn't think about and they weren't thinking about it. And not all of them, and I would say the vast majority, are not of that mindset. But now they're just telling themselves that they are to just do it, to justify it, and it's going to blow up in ways that they're not ready for. But that small percentage at the top are comfortable with. And then you get in a situation like we started seeing where you knew it was going to happen eventually. Teachers were getting caught with OnlyFans. So now the students are seeing their teacher getting their back blown out on fucking OnlyFans. Or you see, or what I think is even fucking... I
always find it funny when you say back blown out. You always go to the back get blown out, bro.
Well, it's happening, bro.
Yeah,
it's the people paying the money. Taking back shots for fucking $4 a month. But the extension of that is eventually, and this is what happened now a few times, is that the mothers of kids that are in school, junior high age or whatever, their friends are finding their fucking mom's got an OnlyFans account. It's worse, it's not their friends. And kids are fucking insidious assholes. We all know this. Bullying got way worse when the internet came around because you used to be able to leave bullying at school. You left school, bullying day was done. You had the sanctuary of your home and maybe your small friend group that you could stay away from all that shit. Maybe you had
that like one neighborhood bully, you know what I mean, that you just had to worry about.
But you could still get away from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the internet came. And it got a little bit more difficult but then social media, game over. Yeah. Kids can't even fucking escape it anymore. And it spreads like wildfire and it lives on the internet for fucking ever. And they can't get away from it anymore. Now you've got kids that mothers made the decision to do this, whether it was because they thought that they absolutely, or maybe, or even fathers that are doing it, that they thought, or maybe they did need for that to happen to pay bills, or they wanted a better life and they were willing to take that risk. Probably thought they'll never find out that it's me. And now the kids have got this and then they go to school. Bro, I'm going to be honest. When we were in school.
Oh, bro.
If anyone back then, if this was our, and they found out, I know, just knowing how people got bullied, bro, people would not be surviving out there. Shit would be, these kids would be.
It's bad.
I can't even say, because on YouTube, I can't even say what would be happening.
I know, I get it, bro. I get it. I remember before I moved into your neighborhood, there was this mom that she was hot. She had she had just a perfect rack and beautiful face, and we used to chirp the fuck
just for having a hot mom.
Just for having the hot mom.
My
buddy fucking it got to the point where he didn't even allow us to go into his house, to his door. Like, he would legitimately have anxiety if he knew we were going to the house, because we would all be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going, Mrs. Whatever?" And can you imagine 2023? She's got OnlyFans.
It's posted everywhere.
Oh, bro, it's
everywhere.
going all over school. It's going
everywhere.
It's going, that's the shit that kids do, man. And they don't even realize what they're doing.
Like, some people look at it and go, well, raise your kids right to understand that the sex work trade is normalized and that it's okay. You're not gonna, they're kids. They're not gonna fucking get that.
Yeah, they don't understand.
They're not gonna fucking grapple with that shit. They see it and it's another avenue to you can't, it's not gonna happen.
And I'm all for women feeling empowered and doing their shit, and men, because men do the shit too. Yes. But obviously there's a different connotation when it comes to men and women.
Yeah, it's definitely the women are going to catch it worse every time.
Women are will be deemed all the negative.
Men are players, the women are whores.
Exactly, right. What does a woman say to another woman when she's upset? You're a whore. You're a slut. Yeah, it's just what it's just the
first thing you reach for. Yeah,
what do you say to a dude? It's like, oh, you got a small dick, or they don't really what do you could call a dude a slut or a whore, a man whore? It's like, you wear it as a badge of honor, right? And I'm not saying listen, make your money, do you?
You gotta just be. You gotta be mindful.
I mean, we are going to a place that I'm not sure the world is ready. I don't know. I don't know, because it's a hot topic. It's not that. I don't know if it's that hot of a topic, but it's a hot enough topic that you can't even just disagree with the way people live their life. And it's really not my business, but it does become my business when it is going to affect my son. And I'm hyper aware. We don't even let Kai on YouTube and stuff. We don't. I just, it's crazy. It's crazy world.
Well, it's really accessible, right? Yeah. In order to do porn in the past, you had to enter into the porn industry, which was its own fucking rat's nest, and brutal and awful. And it's taken ages and ages for the porn industry to even get its shit together. But you had to, there's a step where as an individual, you would have to say, okay, I'm going to go do porn now. And you have to go and make that happen. You have to go somewhere to make that happen. Now it's, I'm going to go do porn now, and you go to onlyfans.com and you create an account and you start posting. And that barrier of removal and that feeling of ownership clearly changed the paradigm for how people view what they are doing and how it is perceived. And it's allowed, like I said, I'm concerned a lot of people did it, snap judgment, see money.
Fellas out there, fellas watching this podcast, my kings, unsubscribe to these OnlyFans. Just unsubscribe to these OnlyFans. My kings, you're better than this. You don't need this. You just don't need this. It's just porn. It's just, you don't need this shit in your life. You don't need the shit in your life. My queens out there, Unsubscribe to this shit. You don't need this shit in your life. It's just, you don't need this. This ain't it. This ain't it. It just ain't it. You ain't that desperate. You might think you are. You ain't that desperate. This ain't it. My kings and queens, just get off it for like 6 months and see how you feel. You ain't missing nothing. Trust me.
It's kind of like
This
the
ain't
thought. It's kind of like getting a tattoo. If somebody says you're going to get a tattoo, you say, okay, do you really want this tattoo? Come up with a design. Think about it. Don't do it. Come back in 6 months. If you really want that tattoo still, go get your tattoo. Because that shit's
Exactly.
basically permanent.
It's permanent. It's
Yeah, you can
essentially
laser that off, but it's not really coming off that easy.
Nah, bro. And it's gonna be an awful
And it's going
mess.
to be a
And it's gonna
fucking
be
mess.
expensive, and it's
Yes.
gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be fun. And it's always just gonna be a scar. There's gonna be remnants. My kings and queens, this ain't it. Be the change, man. This ain't it. And
The tiger.
For those that have the OnlyFans, make your paper. Make your paper while you can. Invest correctly. Telling
And
you.
just be aware of, like, you better be
the
damn
aftermath.
sure that you are comfortable with whatever the aftermath is, because there is aftermath. Unless you're somebody that's doing it faceless, then you can get away with a little bit, I guess, to a degree. But don't underestimate the power of the fucking internet for people to find out it's you. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's down bad. Anyway, that was a tangent in 3 fucking quarters. Time to go do
Whatever.
StarCraft.
Let's do it.
Time to do StarCraft. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna end there. I think we're gonna go watch some porn.
Why not? Onlyfans.com/TV. Head on over there and see nothing.
Yep.
But we'll take your money.
We'll take it anyway. You'll just never know until you subscribe. Until next week. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. And it's time for some StarCraft. Peace.
Peace.